Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Roast Podcast, episode number 127. I am Brendan. PFL 2022, regular season, PFL number 3, welterweights and women lightweights. This is a really good event. If you like split decisions that don't go the way they're supposed to. The fights weren't terrible. Fights were okay. Kayla Harrison taking on Marina Mokhnatkina. God dang. What a tongue twister that name is. Mokhnatkina. There we go. Okay. Good fight is for Harrison. Not getting the finish that she wanted, though. We'll talk about Carlos Leal versus Ray Cooper. Miles Price versus Anthony Pettis. And Brett Cooper versus Rory McDonald, as well as the rest of the fights on the card. We'll go over all those. So, yeah, we're going to go over most of those. Cool. Before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. It shows me that you are interested in both the PFL and MMA in general. Therefore, I will keep doing those videos. Also, along those same lines, if you like this video, please click the like button. I'd appreciate it. Let's talk about the fight, shall we? Kayla Harrison, the two-time defending PFL champion, the multimillionaire here, the two-time judo gold medalist in the Olympics. She's an insane fighter. I cannot take anything away from her. Her skill level is undeniable. She's great. This fight, it went she went to the decision. Right? It went the distance. She did not get the finish here. No extra points for her. Only coming up with 3 points, putting her not in first place in the regular season so far. Larissa Pacheco actually getting the finish on this card in the first round, taking 6 points. So on the other hand, Marina here, boy, oh boy, she is going to be a tough test for the rest of the division. If she can hold off Kayla Harrison's takedowns and offensive pressure and do a little bit on her own, there was no point in this fight where I was like, oh, Marina's winning. So Kayla's obviously still far superior. It's not that. It's how close Marina was to being able to defend some of this stuff, right? Like in my notes here, I was like, wow, Harrison didn't finish the fight in the first round, even though she had her moments in grappling dominance and she had positional dominance in the first round. Not able to get the finish. Second round, Marina was not making anything easy. Kayla had to work in every single exchange to get down to the ground, get back up. Like Marina was getting back up. Same thing in the third round. More of the same. You look at the total strikes landed, they're pretty close, but they were all from a position. Most of them were from a position of dominance from Kayla Harrison. So if you're going to go round by round here on any sort of scorecard, I gave every single round to Kayla. She had 30-27 in my opinion. That's what the judges gave her as well. And she hated it. She said, it was dog shit in my opinion. I could have done a lot better. I tried to get the finish, but Marina's legit. She's if you can look like that against Kayla Harrison, I think you're a legit fighter. I really do. She came in relatively good shape, which you can't say for all of these 155-pounders. You just can't. In the female division, 155 pounds is, that's like light heavyweight for women, in my opinion. It might be heavyweight, to be honest with you. There's just less women that are going to be that large in general, just the general population, let alone going into athletics, and then on top of that, picking MMA as their athletic output. So just the pool that you're pulling from, it's like larger men in general. It's just harder to get the best of the best into MMA, and Marina she's not falling into that where she's just some bloated bantamweight who doesn't want to cut weight or something like that. She looks pretty big. She looks like she's in shape. She looks like she can hold her own in there if she has to. There's I'm not as familiar with the PFL's total women's lightweight division, but I'll tell you, based off of what I've seen as far as Kayla Harrison goes, Marina's going to be a tough test. So let's see how it turns out for her going forward, but I think she's going to be a tough test for other people. Congratulations to Kayla Harrison getting her first win of the season. All right, Carlos Leal versus Ray Cooper the third. Cooper losing this fight. It was weird. Ray Cooper was trying for takedowns with no success. Leal was stopping them, and those were really good attempts. Like, Cooper was in on a double, like hardcore. He was deep on a double and couldn't get the finish. If you look at the striking numbers here, round by round, 59-12 in that first round. 59-12. I had Leal doing way more damage on the feet and winning all the exchanges, even the grappling exchanges in that first round. Leal taking a 10-9. Cooper got hurt by a right hand, and then he tried to panic wrestle, but Leal kept landing damage. This second round, I even had a 10-8 for Leal. The damage was one way. It was not even close. You look at the round 2 striking numbers, 80-20. Those 20 shots from Cooper were nothing, in my opinion. I had it 20-17 going into the third. There was a big hook from to the body from Leal, and it dropped Ray Cooper again here in the third round. But Cooper was having a round where he actually threw some punches at the end of it. If you want to look at round 3, 55-79, this was clearly Ray Cooper's best round. He landed some really good damage near the end, with the last, minute and a half of the fight being fairly competitive, and Cooper having his moments where it looked like, if he really pushes forward, he might be able to get the finish. In my opinion, it was not enough to even give him that round because he had gotten dropped earlier in the round, so total damage still went to Leal, in my opinion. So I had it 30-26. One of the judges agreed with me. One of the judges had it 30-27, and the other one had it 29-28. So not consensus as far as how rounds were scored or overall scoring, but in the it was a unanimous decision. No controversy there. All right, moving on. Miles Price. Miles Price taking on Anthony Pettis. This was weird. Pettis kind of spending most of the first round in screwing around in the guard, and they eventually worked to a triangle. He got flipped around, ended up on his back, Pettis did, and Pettis put him in a triangle, and he ended up getting the finish with the triangle, with the mounted triangle, because he rotated him over. He just doesn't look like the dominant fighter that he used to be. And honestly, if you go back and watch him before, I don't know if he was ever a dominant fighter. He's always this streaky, flash-in-the-pan type of guy. He really is. And I just don't see that from him anymore. Even back in the WC days, he's got that big, Benson Henderson knockout. The Showtime kick was not a knockout. He won that fight. He won the fight by decision, but that was not a knockout. And, he has these flashy moments of crazy success. And, he was even the UFC lightweight champion at one point. And then he got dominated by RDA. He just went on a losing streak, tried cutting more weight, less weight going on. They beat Stephen Thompson out of nowhere, but gets cut. He was just all over the place. He's the very streaky fighter. I don't think he's ever been like a dominant lightweight. He made enough of a streak to get his way to a championship in the UFC, had a good matchup, and won that matchup, became the UFC champion. So, you can never take that away from him or anything, and I don't think he's a bad fighter. It's just, there's nothing about him that just says, like, dominant, long-lasting champion. It's the way he fights. It's all over the place. All right, Brett Cooper taking on Rory McDonald. This is the other one. So there's nothing wrong with the way Rory McDonald performed in this fight. Obviously, getting the dominant win here, getting the the ground and pound finish in this first round. I thought it was a great performance by Rory. I thought he looked as good as I've seen him in the past few years. He got the takedown early, get working with his top pressure, finding a mount, and then getting that, forced him to turn and got the rear naked. Oh, sorry, he got the rear naked choke. He didn't get he was putting down ground and pound, flipped him over. He exposed his back, Brett Cooper did, and he ended up getting the rear naked choke. So there's something different about him. There is, he still fights behind his jab, and it just doesn't seem that he has the same intensity. I don't think after that, maybe, I don't know if it's because, he found salvation in Jesus or something like that. I don't know if it's because, the damage that he's taken. I don't know if it's just because he's getting older and he's, changing the way he fights on purpose. I don't know what it is, but I just don't think he's been the same since that second fight with Robbie Lawler. He just hasn't. Okay, now to a blowout. So this happened. Larissa Pacheco versus Zamzagul Fazalanva. Faiza that should be Lenova, right? No, it's Lanva. Oops, I wrote it down wrong. Finally getting a finish, because if you watch the rest of this card, if you watch it in order, holy moly, it was rough watching that many decisions where they're really close rounds too, and not necessarily the most exciting fights leading up to this. So finally a good finish. Pacheco landing a right hand and stunning her, and then kept the pressure on, finished her with a bunch of right hands. This is one of those cases where Pacheco just throws hard punches and landed them on her. Do I think? I don't know. Do I think she's going to be a challenge for Kayla Harrison? I mean, they fought before, so no, I don't. There's nothing about that fight that tells me that she's going to win. All right, let's kind of breeze through these ones. Keep this video under 30 minutes, because if I spent as much time talking about these fights, it would go along. But so Delano Taylor versus João Zeferino. So Taylor with the damage in the so Taylor was the winner by split decision. These were all over the place as far as their performance ratings go. Oh yeah, these aren't strikes landed. What was I saying? I'm an idiot. I said that earlier. 36 to 15. Maybe no. Those are no. That's not it. I was reading those stats wrong. that's the fighter performance rating, the FPR. That's different. Anyway, they had João Zeferino winning this fight. I actually gave it to Taylor. I thought Taylor did. Taylor with the damage at the end of the round in the first round didn't do enough. I thought that he did lose the first round, but Taylor stayed on the feet in the second round and outlanded him, so he did a good job. I thought he won that second round, and then Zeferino didn't do enough in that last round, so I actually gave the last two rounds to Taylor. Apparently that's not how this goes, but that's not the way that the stats went as far as how they put it. But Taylor ended up getting the split decision, which is the tale of the night here. All right, so let's go to Fabian, Jenna Fabian versus Julia Budd. This was not a split decision, I don't think. So this fight was kind of boring, but Budd with the grappling and no damage either way. So, oh wait, no, I think this was a split decision. Good grief, there was a lot of them. So anyway, Budd with the grappling and did no damage either way, so it was all her in the first round, 10-9. Fabian actually landing some shots in the second round, so she did a much better job. Budd with nothing in return, so 19-19. And then going into the third round here, I had Budd was clinching her way for 3 minutes, but she lost position and did no damage when she was in good position. So I had her losing 29-28 to Jenna Fabian. That's why. Budd gets the automatic points. If Fabian got the win, statistically, she got the win, but she got minus points here because she wasn't eligible because she missed weight. That's what it was. And so did Ray Cooper. Ray Cooper also missed weight. All right. Nikolai. Oh, my goodness. Alexicon versus Sadabusai. Yeah, Sadabusai. So this one, another split decision. So Sai did more damage in the first round, especially with those eye pokes that he had. That was super fucking cool. 2 really bad eye pokes, and he got a warning, no points taken. So that's actually why he ended up winning this fight, because he didn't get a point taken. Sai did more damage up top. Nikolai did more damage down low. I gave the second round to Sadako because, like, chances are he was going to get that round. The FPR gave a tie. I thought Nikolai could have won that second round with those leg kicks, and one of the judges agreed with me. Sloppy grappling, back and forth with little control. Nikolai, I had him winning that third round, but I've had him losing the fight. So I don't disagree with the decision of Sadako C. Sadako C, right? Not Sai. Sadako C. And then Gleison Tebow. So this is a UFC veteran here. Gleison Tebow versus Jirai Al-Salawi. So Salawi is a former champion in the PFL. So Tebow with pressure, and he outlanded Salawi. I had him. Al-Salawi was content to stay on the retreat and land leg kicks in that first round. I actually gave that first round to Tebow. Second round, striking about even, Tebow with the grappling. And he even got a takedown. So I gave that second round to Tebow. And then the takedown and holds, then he held him there for the whole round. Tebow, I gave it 30-27. I gave him actually all 3 rounds. But somehow the judges gave this fight to Jirai, and I have no fucking idea how. I don't. Gleison Tebow actually got that really controversial decision over Rory last year, so maybe this is karma paying him back. It doesn't help out Rory McDonald at all, but it punishes Tebow for no reason in a fight that he clearly won. Holy shit, bad decision. Horrible, horrible decision. All right, so these ladies. All right, so now we're getting into the ladies who are bloated bantamweights. Right, so clearly these women are holding on to extra weight that they could lose to get down to a lower weight class. Maybe not bantamweight, but flyweight for sure. They for sure both could lose 10 pounds and drop down to a lower weight class. But this is kind of the nature of these heavier weight classes in general, both for men and women. So Elena Kolesnik versus Abigail Montez. I had the striking about even, not very technical at all. This was not a technical fight. This was just sloppy, swinging back and forth. Fun to watch, though. It just is, like not everything has to be a technical masterpiece or a chess match, a grappling chess match or anything like that. Sometimes it's fun just to watch people just throw wild punches at each other, and that's what this was. I had Elena win in the first round 10-9. She had the advancement, and I felt like she did land more. Even if they landed the same amount, I felt like she did more in that first round moving forward. So, and there's a tie on here as well. So I'm not crazy. Montez turning it around and being the aggressor in this second round, throwing crazy. And then, at the end of the round, when they do the clapper or the noise that they do in Texas, where they're holding these events for the last 10 seconds, Elena thought the fight, the second round was over, so she raises her hands and turns around to go back to her corner, but the fight still had to continue. Oh my God, what a shit show! It was funny though. She laughed it off. It was pretty funny. The second round I gave to Montez, doing more damage, outlanding her a little bit. Last round was fun to watch. Super sloppy, but fun. I went Montez. I'm not mad at Elena getting the decision. If you look at these numbers, they're close enough here as far as like that goes. Their output was very close overall, and that did play out round by round. It really came down to, in my opinion, the damage was probably even. So it's really just who had the pressure more often in each round. And if you look at this, Elena does have inner zone. She had a higher percentage in that inner zone. I think that's what that means. Anyway, I thought she did again, serviceable fight. I thought it was fun to watch. Let's put it that way. And then we're going to talk about one more here. Oh, good grief. Not that one. Mello. So, Mello versus Jindrova. So, Vanessa Mello versus Martina Jindrova. This fight, Jindrova ends up getting the decision here. She was clearly the better, more accomplished striker. She's a kickboxer. It showed. She was much more efficient on the feet. Very, very crisp striking on the feet. Both these women are, I wrote down the first thing I saw was like, both these women are getting absolutely destroyed by Kayla Harrison. Mello seems to be carrying. She looks like she could cut down to be a lighter fighter, possibly flyweight, or possibly bantamweight, but for sure flyweight. Jindrova, she holds on a little bit more muscle. She's a little bit bigger. She's 5'8". She's a little bit larger. 155 might be it, but I think she could also drop down to 145. Mello was just not able to grapple at all this fight. It was actually kind of boring watching her get picked apart. There wasn't any like crazy exchanges or a lot of pressure from Jindrova, that was trying to end the fight in any one moment. It was really just constant tap, 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 a couple of straights here and there, but freaking dogs. I mean, we're at the end. This is the end of the card anyway. They didn't really having dogs. I really love my dogs. I do. And like honestly, the barking usually is not that big of a deal. So they bark when they see people and they want to say hi or like, oh hey, somebody's by the house. That's actually kind of nice, knowing that somebody's at the door. That's it. I mean, overall, my thoughts on this PFL card. It was harder to sit through because of all those split decisions. I mean, every fight going the distance and then them being that close, not necessarily the most exciting fights. It's not the most exciting experience. But production quality was great, as usual. The announcers, the commentary, fantastic. The fights, I mean, they had their moments. There's a lot of skill being shown in the PFL right now. So I actually enjoyed this much more than watching the Bellator card. Sorry, guys. If you're a huge Bellator fan, I think they missed the boat. I really do. I think they, I don't know. PFL is taking over that second spot for me. It really is. I look forward to PFL events much more than Bellator events now. I do. I enjoy watching Bellator events for the most part, but it is much easier with ESPN Plus. As much as I hate their app, it's easier to watch their events. It's easier to scrub through their fights and watch them at my own pace. Go back and rewatch things while I'm watching it. It's very nice. Okay. We are done. We are done with this. I will be putting out my coverage of the UFC event, the pay-per-view coming up this weekend. Oliveira versus Gaethje. I'll be covering that one in the next couple videos. But until then, I would appreciate it if you subscribe so you do see when that comes out so it hits your timeline. I would appreciate that. And then if you did like this video, please like it. If you made it to the end, I love you as always. I really do. If you choose not to watch any of my other videos this weekend or this week, I appreciate it. This one, that's fine. It means a lot to me that you watch this one, and I hope you all have an awesome week. Love y'all.